The shadow beyond Pluto. The stars were unnaturally quiet that night. Commander Elise Reyes stood on the observation deck of Orbital Defense Station Helios, her eyes scanning the holographic display of the solar system. 20 years in the United Earth Defense Fleet had taught her that silence in space was rarely a good sign. "Commander, we've got something strange coming in from the long-range scanners," Lieutenant Park called from his station. His voice held that slight tremor Reyes had learned to recognize, the sound of someone who had seen something they couldn't explain. "Define strange, Lieutenant," Reyes said, moving to his console with practiced efficiency. Her dark uniform, adorned with the silver insignia of Earth Command, reflected the blue glow of the displays. Park's fingers danced across the holographic interface. "There's something at the edge of the Kuiper belt. It's not registering on standard scans, but it's creating gravitational distortions. Whatever it is, it's big." Reyes leaned closer to the display. True enough, there was a shadow moving against the backdrop of distant stars, not visible on any electromagnetic spectrum, but undeniably present in the gravitational readings. It moved with purpose, slowly but deliberately approaching the outer boundaries of human territory. "Have we attempted contact?" she asked, already knowing the answer. "Yes, Mom. All frequencies, all known protocols. Nothing." Park shook his head. "It's as if it's absorbing our signals." Reyes straightened, her mind racing through protocols and possibilities. In the 15 years since humanity had made first contact with the Varian Confederation, they had cataloged 47 distinct spacefaring species. None had technology that could mask itself this completely. "Notify Earth Command. I want a defensive perimeter established at Neptune's orbit. And get me Captain Hawkins on the EDS Daedalus. They're the closest scout vessel to that region." Within hours, 3 scout ships had converged near Pluto's orbit, forming a triangular surveillance pattern around the anomaly's projected path. Commander Reyes watched from Helios, her command center now bustling with activity as analysts and tactical officers monitored the situation. "Daedalus is moving into scanning range," announced Communications Officer Chen. The main view screen showed the sleek scout ship, one of Earth's finest, approaching the coordinates where the anomaly had last been detected. The Daedalus was small but powerful, equipped with the latest in human sensor technology. "We're getting visual confirmation," Captain Hawkins reported over the secure channel. I've never seen anything like this." The feed from Daedalus showed a vessel, if it could be called that. It resembled a shadow more than a ship, its hull seeming to bend light around it rather than reflect it. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of Earth's largest battlecruiser, with no visible propulsion system or external features. Its surface rippled like liquid obsidian. "No response to hails," Hawkins continued. "We're moving closer to attempt high-intensity scanning." Reyes felt a chill run down her spine. "Maintain safe distance, Captain. Do not engage." "Acknowledged, Commander. We're keeping our distance, just trying to get better readings on." "Wait, something's happening." On the screen, the shadow vessel suddenly shifted. Not a movement through space, but a change in its very nature. Parts of its hull began to flow and reshape, extending outward like tendrils of darkness. "We're detecting energy buildup," Hawkins reported, urgency creeping into his voice. "Unknown type, massive scale. Should we?" The transmission cut off abruptly. On the screen, a pulse of darkness, not light, but its absence, expanded from the alien vessel. When it touched the Daedalus, the scout ship didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, as if every atom had been unwritten from reality. Silence fell across the command center. The 2 other scout ships immediately began evasive maneuvers, but they were too late. The wave of nothingness expanded, engulfing them in the same terrible silence. 3 ships lost with all hands," Park whispered, his voice hollow. "No debris, no radiation signature. They're just gone." Commander Reyes stared at the screen, her face a mask of professional calm that concealed the storm within. 217 personnel had just vanished without even the dignity of remains to return to their families. "The vessel is moving again," reported Tactical Officer Rivera. "It's heading inward, toward Neptune. Current trajectory suggests it will reach the gas giant in approximately 48 hours. Reyes turned to communications. "I want a direct line to General Okada at Earth Command, Priority Alpha, and alert all outposts between here and Neptune to prepare for immediate evacuation." 6 hours later, Commander Reyes stood in the virtual presence of the Earth Alliance Emergency Council, 12 grim-faced leaders representing the united governments of humanity. The holographic projections surrounded her in the secure briefing room, their expressions ranging from fear to grim determination. "The entity has maintained its course toward Neptune," Reyes reported. "We've evacuated the research stations on Triton, but the mining colony on Neptune's upper atmosphere has over 3,000 civilians. Evacuation is underway, but will take at least another 30 hours to complete." General Okada, the stern-faced head of Earth Defense, nodded. "And our military options?" "Limited," Reyes admitted. "Conventional weapons appear ineffective. The Daedalus managed to launch 2 antimatter torpedoes before it was destroyed. They had no visible effect. The entity simply absorbed them." "Could we be dealing with an advanced form of artificial intelligence?" asked Counselor Chen, the representative from the East Asian Coalition. "Perhaps some ancient automated weapon system." "Possible," Reyes acknowledged. "But its behavior suggests something more complex. It's adapting to our presence, altering course to intercept our assets. That suggests tactical thinking beyond simple programming." "What about the Phantom Project?" The question came from an unexpected source. Counselor Ivanova of the Eurasian Federation, who technically shouldn't have known about the classified experimental vessel. General Okada's expression darkened. "The Phantom is not combat-ready. The neural interface system is still in testing, and we have no guarantee it would be effective against this threat." "We're out of options, General," Counselor Ivanova pressed. "If this entity reaches Earth," the unspoken fear hung in the air between them. "If this vessel could erase 3 military ships without effort, what would it do to a planet of 12 billion souls?" "The Phantom may be our only hope," Reyes said quietly. "Its adaptive camouflage and phase shift technology are derived from the same principles we're observing in this entity. It might be able to approach undetected, give us valuable intelligence at minimum." General Okada's jaw tightened, but he gave a curt nod. "Very well. Commander Reyes, you are hereby authorized to deploy the EDS Phantom on a reconnaissance mission. But understand this, if the Phantom fails, we will have lost our most advanced defensive technology against this threat." "I understand, sir," Reyes replied. "And I volunteered to command the mission." Okada shook his head, denied. "You're needed to coordinate our defensive efforts here. The Phantom already has a pilot, Captain Marcus Chen. He's been connected to the neural interface system for the past 6 months. He's the only one who can fly her effectively." Reyes had heard of Chen, a legendary pilot with an uncanny connection to his vessels, rumored to have an unprecedented synchronization rate with the experimental neural interfaces. If anyone could dance with shadows, it would be him. "Very well," she acknowledged. "I'll brief Captain Chen immediately." As the council meeting adjourned, Commander Reyes gazed out at the stars from the station's viewport. Somewhere out there, a shadow was moving toward humanity's worlds with unknown intent, unstoppable by conventional means. "What are you?" she whispered to the darkness. "And what do you want from us?" In the classified hangar bay, deep within the asteroid series, Captain Marcus Chen was already preparing for battle, unaware that he was about to face the greatest challenge of his life. A dance with a shadow that could unmake worlds with a touch. The dance of shadows. Captain Marcus Chen stood in the dimly lit chamber that housed the heart of humanity's most closely guarded secret, the EDS Phantom. Unlike conventional starships, the Phantom had no bridge, no crew quarters, no traditional control systems. Instead, at its core was a single neural interface pod designed to merge one human mind directly with the ship's systems. Chen was a slight man with intense eyes that seemed to look through reality rather than at it. 15 years as a pilot had earned him a reputation as the best in the fleet, but the past 6 months connected to the Phantom had changed him in ways even he didn't fully understand. "Final neural calibration complete, Captain," said Dr. Sharma, the lead scientist on the Phantom project. "Remember, this vessel isn't just technology you control. It's an extension of your consciousness. Your thoughts, your instincts, your very nature will shape how it responds." Chen guided the Phantom back toward Earth, his mind reeling from the encounter. The neural interface had recorded everything, data that would take scientists years to fully analyze. But one thing was immediately clear. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and they were being watched by powers older than civilization itself. 3 days later, Captain Chen stood before the Earth Alliance Council, still pale and shaky from his extended time in neural interface. Commander Reyes stood beside him, her expression a mix of respect and concern. Captain Chen's actions not only saved the Neptune colony, but established first contact with an entity of unimaginable age and power, she reported. "The technology we recovered from Europa clearly originated from the same civilization that created these guardians, and our use of it is what drew this one's attention." General Okada leaned forward. "And you believe it's truly departed, not simply hiding, waiting to strike again?" Chen met the general's gaze steadily. "The Guardian's purpose isn't destruction. It's preservation. It doesn't hate us or fear us. It simply evaluates whether we represent a threat to the stability of this region of space." "And its verdict?" asked Counselor Ivanova. "We're on probation," Chen said with a slight smile. "It recognized our potential for both greatness and destruction. It will be watching, but from a distance, allowing us to develop in our own way, unless we begin developing technologies it considers too dangerous." Commander Reyes stepped forward. "This encounter has changed everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. We're not alone, and we're not the first. The Guardians, and whoever created them, have been shepherding the galaxy for millions of years." "And the Phantom Project?" General Okada asked. "Should continue," Chen answered firmly, "but with a new purpose. The Guardian showed me star maps, regions we should explore, others we should avoid. With the Phantom's technology, we could reach them, learn from them, not to build weapons, but to understand our place in a much older and more complex cosmos than we ever imagined." As the council deliberated, Chen stood at the observation window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, ancient eyes were watching humanity's stumbling steps into the cosmic community, not with hostility, but with something that, if not quite hope, was at least patient expectation. The shadow had come without warning, but it had left humanity with something precious. Knowledge that they were part of something greater, a tapestry of civilizations stretching back through time. And perhaps, if they proved worthy, they might one day join the ancient Guardians as protectors rather than threats. For Captain Marcus Chen, connected to humanity's first true starship, the journey was just beginning. "I think I understand," Chen transmitted to Earth Command, his voice tense with concentration. "It recognized the Phantom's technology. It thinks we're related to it somehow." Chen made a decision. Using the neural interface, he attempted to respond in kind, shaping the Phantom's energy emissions into patterns mimicking those the entity had sent. Human, peaceful, curious. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The entity's entire form seemed to pulse with light and shadow, and a torrent of information flooded toward the Phantom. Too much, too fast for Chen's mind to process. Warning alarms blared as the neural interface struggled to buffer the input. "Neural overload imminent. Warn the ship's automated systems. Recommend immediate disconnection." "No," Chen gritted through clenched teeth. "Filter it. Slow it down. I need to understand." Through the chaos of information, images began to form in Chen's mind. Ancient wars among the stars, civilizations rising and falling, and machines, sentient vessels created as guardians, programmed to watch for signs of destructive technology that could threaten the galaxy. "It's a sentinel," Chen transmitted to Earth Command, his voice strained. "Created by some ancient race to prevent the spread of certain technologies. It detected the Phantom and thought we might be developing the same destructive capabilities it was designed to eliminate. Can you convince it we're not a threat?" Commander Rice asked, urgency in her voice. Before Chen could respond, the entity released another pulse, this one different, focused, and directed not at the Phantom but at Neptune itself. Sensors showed a disturbance forming in the gas giant's atmosphere, growing rapidly into a massive storm system that began to engulf the planet. "It's targeting the mining colony," Chen realized with horror. "It thinks it's some kind of weapons platform." Without hesitation, Chen maneuvered the Phantom between Neptune and the entity, directly in the path of its energy beam. The ship's hull absorbed the brunt of the attack, its programmable matter redistributing the energy, but the strain on both vessel and pilot was enormous. "Captain, pull back immediately," Commander Rice ordered. "You can't withstand that kind of power." Chen ignored the command, pushing deeper into the connection with his ship. If the entity thought in patterns and energy, then perhaps. Drawing on everything he had learned during 6 months merged with the Phantom, Chen shaped the ship's very form into a complex, three-dimensional representation of Earth's history, not in images or words, but in patterns of energy and matter that told the story of humanity's evolution, their struggles, their curiosity, their desire to explore rather than conquer. The entity's attack faltered. Its dark tendrils pulled back, coiling around its main body as if in consideration. For long moments that stretched into minutes, it remained motionless. Then, with deliberate slowness, it extended a single tendril toward the Phantom, not attacking, but establishing contact. Through this connection came understanding. The entity, the Guardian, as it thought of itself, had been dormant for millennia, awakened by unusual energy readings from Earth's system. It had interpreted humanity's rapid technological advancement as a potential threat, especially when it detected the phase shift technology in the Phantom, so similar to weapons that had once devastated entire star systems. "It's been watching us," Chen transmitted to Earth Command. "Judging whether we're a threat to the galaxy." The Phantom triggered its defensive protocols. With careful precision, Chen continued the exchange, showing the Guardian humanity's strict controls on dangerous technology, their efforts at peace despite their conflicts, their desire to learn and grow rather than conquer. Most importantly, he showed how the phase shift technology had been developed not as a weapon, but as a means to explore further and faster than ever before. Gradually, the Guardian's posture changed. Its form shifted from threatening darkness to something more neutral, its energy patterns becoming less chaotic, more harmonious. Through their connection, Chen sensed something like reassessment. Young, learning, potential. New concepts flowed from the Guardian. Watching, waiting, return. "I understand," Chen said, both to the Guardian and to Earth Command. "It's going to continue observing us, but it no longer sees us as an immediate threat. It will return to dormancy, but will be watching our development." With a final pulse of information, coordinates to regions of space humanity should avoid, remnants of ancient conflicts still dangerous after eons, the Guardian began to withdraw. Its massive form shifted, becoming even less substantial, until it slipped away into the outer darkness of the solar system, leaving only faint gravitational echoes to mark its passage. Chen nodded, his expression betraying nothing of the anxiety he felt. The Phantom was revolutionary, a ship built around technology reverse-engineered from fragments of an ancient vessel discovered buried beneath the ice of Europa. Its hull was composed of programmable matter that could change properties at the pilot's thought, becoming solid, liquid, gaseous, or something in between. It could bend light, absorb energy, and, theoretically, phase partially out of normal space-time. "I understand the stakes, Doctor," Chen replied calmly. "Has Commander Rice provided the latest tracking data on our target?" "Yes. The entity has maintained its course toward Neptune. It will reach the mining colonies in approximately 18 hours. Dr. Sharma hesitated. "Captain, we've never tested the Phantom against anything like this. The similarity between its technology and this entity's capabilities is concerning." Chen met the scientist's worried gaze. "That's exactly why the Phantom might be our only hope, Doctor. Perhaps it takes a shadow to catch a shadow." Minutes later, Chen lowered himself into the neural interface pod, a liquid-filled chamber that would support his body while his mind extended throughout the ship. As the neural links connected, he felt the familiar rush of expanded consciousness, his awareness spreading through systems and sensors, feeling the programmable hull as if it were his own skin. Neural interface at 97% synchronization. Came Dr. Sharma's voice, now sounding distant despite being only meters away. "Phantom power systems online. Phase shift drive ready for activation." Chen didn't need to respond verbally. His thoughts commanded the ship's systems directly. With a mere intention, the Phantom detached from its docking cradle, moving silently through the massive hidden hangar inside Ceres. "Godspeed, Captain," were the last words Chen heard as the Phantom emerged from the asteroid base, immediately shifting into stealth configuration. Its hull darkened to match the void, absorbing rather than reflecting light. To any observer, it would appear as nothing more than a slightly darker patch against the backdrop of space. Chen set course for Neptune, pushing the phase shift drive to its limits. Unlike conventional engines that pushed against space, the phase shift technology partially removed the vessel from normal spacetime, allowing it to slip between the very fabric of reality. The stars blurred around him, not from speed, but from the shifting perception of light, as the Phantom danced on the edge of existence. 4 hours later, the blue giant Neptune filled Chen's expanded senses. And there, approaching from the outer system, was the entity, a darkness moving against the darkness, detectable only because Chen's consciousness was distributed throughout the Phantom's advanced sensors. "This is Captain Chen to Earth Command." He transmitted on the quantum-entangled communication system that couldn't be intercepted or blocked. "I have visual on the entity near Neptune's orbit, beginning observation patterns." Chen guided the Phantom in a wide arc, maintaining distance while gathering data. The entity was even more unsettling up close, its surface constantly shifting like liquid shadow, occasionally extending tendrils that seemed to taste the surrounding space. It moved with purpose toward Neptune's largest moon, Triton, where the evacuation of the research base was still underway. "Captain, we're receiving your telemetry." Commander Rice's voice reached him. "Our analysts are detecting similarities between its hull composition and the Phantom's programmable matter. Can you get closer readings on its energy patterns?" Chen adjusted the Phantom's approach, slipping closer to the massive shadow vessel, moving to scanning range now. "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations around its hull, almost like it exists partially in another dimension." As the Phantom drew nearer, something unexpected happened. The entity suddenly stopped its advance, hovering motionless in space. Then, slowly, it began to turn, orienting itself directly toward the Phantom despite its stealth systems. "It sees me," Chen transmitted, a hint of surprise in his voice. "That should be impossible." Before Earth Command could respond, the entity released a pulse of energy, not the destructive wave that had erased the scout ships, but something different. It washed over the Phantom like a tide of information, complex patterns that Chen felt rather than saw through the neural interface. "It's scanning us," Chen realized. "No, it's communicating." Through his connection with the ship, Chen felt the patterns resolve into concepts, not words, but pure meaning transmitted directly into the Phantom systems, and through them, into his mind. Kindred. The concept flooded Chen's consciousness, followed by others. Ancient. Guardian. purpose.